Hello everyone, hopefully in this video I'm going to show you how to remap the RoG Gaming button on a, what have I got, it's an RoG Republic of Gamers ASUS GL702VM, or otherwise known as GL702 I think quite often, where it's got a home button on the keyboard and no end button, which, well, there is an end button down in the number pad area, but to use that you need to do FN home to turn number lock off, press number 1 on the keypad, and then do FN and then the home button again to turn number lock back on if you then want to use the num keys, which isn't really very convenient. So if I press by default, if you press the RoG key, which is below the home button, which I think should be the end button, you get the RoG Republic of Gamers Gaming Center, and it's generally not very useful, at least for my use. I would much rather have an end key, so if I want to go to the end of a list of files or the end of a line of text in a Word document or a notepad, then I can do that. That would be much more useful. The thing I have used in the past is something called Randy's Rant's SharpKeys, which lets you remap keys, and I've used that on an Apple Mac to remap some of the keys to the correct keys, or the keys that I want. Annoyingly, SharpKeys doesn't see the RoG button as a key that's being pressed, so there's something in firmware or some other method that the keyboard is sending that key to the ASUS drivers. The only way that I found at the moment to get around it, which other people have found on a forum, I think it's on the ASUS forum, is using AutoHotKey, but people don't really make it particularly clear how you do that, so I thought I'd make a video showing how I did it. The first thing you need to do, I thought about building this as like an MSI or something you can install, but then people aren't particularly keen on downloading random executables from the internet and running them. I wouldn't know where to post it or host it to make it easily accessible. So the first thing to do is to download AutoHotKey. And don't make the mistake which I did, which is it looks like this blue thing at the top is a banner or a heading, and then I clicked on all the ones below and wondered why I wasn't getting all the files that I was expecting. So do the blue button on their download page. Do the express installation, it does everything I need. So once you've installed AutoHotKey, which all I did was click on express installation, then it installed it, and I clicked on escape or exit. You then need to go to your C drive program files, ASUS RoG Gaming Center. The first thing to do is make sure that RoG Gaming Center isn't open, and rename RogGamingCenter.exe to something that means that you can get it back if you ever need that program back. I'm going to call it original. So RogGamingCenter_original.exe, because it's a system file, it wants user account control, so allow that. So we've renamed RoG Gaming Center to RogGamingCenter_original. You then want to, in another folder that isn't the RoG Gaming Center folder, you want to create a blank file called RogGamingCenter.ahk. AHK stands for AutoHotKey, and it's a script for what we've just installed. Then right click on it and go edit script, and because I've written this already, there's the code that I use and I know works, so you might want to pause this video and copy it down. I'm going to have a quick brief rundown of what all these do. So no tray icon means that each time the script is run it doesn't try and put a tray icon in the bottom right. Then it does get key state, my shift key state, which is a variable name, so that's get key state is a command, and then it puts that into my shift state, and then it gets the state of the shift key, and then at the end you can either have P, I think, or L for logical, which is physical and logical, and we want the physical key state of the key, and we do the same for control as well. The reason for doing that is if somebody's holding down control and then wants to do the end key or shift and do the end key, then AutoHotKey needs to detect it and do those commands. Basically, if you don't do that, then you just end up with a bit of a mess where you hold down control and press end or shift and end, and it just does the end key. Then you need if, then make sure you put these brackets in the right place, and then the variable name, so my shift state is down, D equals down basically, and make sure you put the quote marks around it as well, and my control state equals down, close normal bracket, and then open a curly bracket. And the other ones are easier, but apparently if you need to combine the control and the shift, you have to do it in basically a 4-step process of put the key down, put this key up, put that key up. So yes, copy this. Again, that's a curly brackets along this section. So send, control down, shift down, press the end key, take shift back up and take the control up. Else if my shift state is down, then do shift and end. If the control state is down, do then control and end. And for any other reason that this script will get run, it means that no other keys are being held down, and you need to just send the end key. Then finally, the return option, which tells AutoHotKey that the script is gracefully finished and it hasn't crashed or hung or got stuck in a loop. So there we go. Then right click on that text file which you've now saved, which as I say should have that content in it now, and go compile script. And you should end up with an executable file called RogGamingCenter.exe, which we need to put in the ROG Gaming Center folder. So click and drag and move it to the ROG Gaming Center folder, and hopefully I can demonstrate now if I load up say for example that script. So I'm going to, if I press home, which is just a standard normal key on this keyboard, it works. Now if I want to do to the end of this line, I'm going to press the ROG Gaming Center button, and it goes to the end of the line, which is really, really useful, much more useful than the ROG Gaming Center. If I wanted to do, for example, shift and end to go from the middle of this text to the end, hold down shift on my keyboard, press the ROG Gaming Center button, and it does that, which is very nice. If I wanted to do these two, which is control and shift and end, so control shift ROG Gaming Center, off we go. So fantastic. Very useful. And then control and end on its own. I haven't said that. I did a shift and end, which is a bit of a strange one. I'll have to test that on another machine just to make sure whether control and end does that in Notepad 2, which I have installed, which it may be. And the same if I do select a file in the middle of this folder, do shift and end, and it highlights everything to the end. So much more useful than not having a dedicated end button. The only thing which I have found, and also the people on the ASUS forum have found, is you are limited to pressing that button once every 4 seconds. And what it seems to do, there seems to be a limit in how often I think the ASUS driver will trigger that key. You can get around it by doing these commands, which at the beginning of here I've commented them out, so they don't run, because I don't need my script to do it, because it doesn't work very well. If you kill RogGamingKey.exe and then reload it, then it avoids that 4-second counter, or roughly 4 seconds. The downside or the trouble I found is it has to be run as a service, or a scheduled task, which I think then runs a service. If you just run the program itself, it doesn't work. And every time you run the service through scheduled tasks, it defocuses the window that you're in. So if you're writing a Word document or you're selecting a load of files, you do shift end, and then it defocuses and loses whatever you were doing. Not really loses what you're doing in that window, but disrupts what you're doing in the window. So I've actually found it more convenient for me to have the 4-second minimum time between presses than it would be to have it defocusing away from the window that I'm using. But yeah, hopefully that is useful for you, if you have, especially if you have one of these ROG laptops without an end button. And I am astonished that they ever made that design in the first place. But there we go. Hopefully it helps. If it did help you, I would love it if you would leave a comment so I know.